What are we doing today?
Stuff, Lori. Things.
What?
I'm just quoting Walking Dead. We are going to get spoopy. Are we starting?
I guess.
Wow, we're a lively bunch of assholes.
Hello! Welcome to Tudor. I hardly know her. Yay!
Tudor, I hardly sleep.
Welcome to the sleep-deprived episode.
Yeah.
Look, we all just got out of work.
It's a Monday, guys. Give us a fucking break.
It's Monday. We all just got out of work. I actually technically haven't left work yet, so.
Poor Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
I pity the fool.
I mean, okay, so I did take a break to go run to the costume store to get my Halloween costume for my radio broadcast.
Did they vote? Did your listeners vote? Because I saw that you were doing that.
They did vote. So on Facebook, we put up the option for 3 costumes that my co-host picked out. I was going to either be 11 from Stranger Things, Britney Spears from the Oops, I Did It Again video, which that's what I was polling for.
Oh, no. I was pulling for the third one.
The one that won,
Yes,
was Patrick Star from SpongeBob wearing fishnets and like sexy boots and like doing this high kick.
I'm so excited.
Was that like? I'm not familiar with this episode. Was that like a thing that went through the whole episode, or was it like a one scene joke?
Jeffrey?
Yeah, essentially just like a one-bit joke, and I can't remember what was the reasoning behind why they went to that.
Hey.
I'm not familiar with my SpongeBob lore, but yep. So I just went out and bought like a pink morph suit and some very green hot pants and some sexy fishnets.
I am very excited for this.
I've been debating on whether or not to just wear the morph suit for my legs or to cut the legs off the morph suit and then just shave my legs.
Oh my God, if you shave your legs. Just so you know.
I've never shaved my legs.
It's going to get itchy as fuck when it starts growing back.
Well, I've noticed. Never mind.
No comment.
Don't let your kids listen to our show.
We are not kid friendly. Although I would like.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Jeff's going to do this whole episode as
Vincent Price. Welcome to Tudor. I hardly know her.
Okay, wait, no, I want Garrett to be Vincent Price, and I want Jeff to be the Crypt Keeper.
Evening, kitties. It'll be a real scream.
I don't like that joke very much. Scooby, capture the ghosts or some shit. I don't know. That's how I knew Vincent Price, from the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Was that? I never saw that one.
It's one of the animated movies they did in like
I
the
figured.
80s.
I thought that was just a TV show. Like there were multiple episodes, and I think there was like a young Asian child that traveled with them. I don't know.
All right. Twitter poll for our listeners. Which of the two I think we should only count these as the 2 animated Scooby-Doo movies are better. Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost or Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island?
Zombie Island, 100%.
Zombie Island.
I was going to go with that too. But Witch's Ghost has Tim Curry.
And that
Which one was Witch's Ghost?
And that sweet song.
We're the Hex Girls.
Earth,
Wind, fire, and air. We may not
look
make
bad.
sense, but we don't
Did
care.
you say we don't make sense?
Yeah.
I said we may
I
look
know,
bad. But
I'm joking.
Well, maybe it's like we may be redundant, but we don't care. Because like I was like the earth, wind. It's like earth.
Wind and air.
Yeah. It's like.
Earth,
Okay, that's a
wind,
funny joke.
fire, and air.
Okay, I thought that the Hex Girls were from Zombie Island, like they were also on the island, but no.
Oh shit,
Zombie
that
Island
would be
was
the
when
best.
they ate a bunch of crawfish.
Yeah.
Yes, I always remember that.
Zombie Island is all in the Cajun stuff.
Yeah, because that was like the first movie, and I remember that being like a big deal.
Poe agrees. He also likes that
It was
episode.
like Scooby-Doo,
no.
but this time the monsters are real.
The best one is Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School.
I never saw
Yes,
that
with
one.
the little girls, daughters of all the famous monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really cute.
I didn't see that one.
That one was from like the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
All right, Twitter poll. What's the best Scooby-Doo Halloween movie?
Okay, the live
we-
action one that's written by James Gunn.
That one is
Okay,
a
I was
delight.
just gonna say that this is me. Just the last thing I'm gonna say before we actually start the episode.
No,
Don't worry, we'll start it eventually. I
It's all
just
Halloween
watched that movie
related.
with my girlfriend for the first time ever last week.
what? For the first time?
Because when I
It's
was
so
younger, I
good.
thought, oh, that's gonna suck.
No, it's good.
It was like the Brady Bunch movie.
Yes!
It's so
Oh.
fucking funny.
Guys, do yourself a favor and go watch the Brady Bunch movie from the 90s.
From the 90s. Yeah.
From the 90s. Because Marsha Brady's harder to get into than a Pearl Jam concert.
Jesus.
I love that movie. But no, I have a soft spot for like that first Scooby Doo live action movie for some reason. Because it's just like
I mean,
it's
James Gunn wrote it. If you
Yeah.
don't know who James Gunn is,
And
the
Rowan
writer
Atkinson's
and
in it.
director of
Rowan
Rowan
Atkinson,
Atkinson,
yep.
yeah.
It's a funny movie.
I kept saying the worst part of that movie was Scooby Doo. Like I didn't need Scooby Doo in that movie. I would just watch like all those great actors just like making really great jokes.
It's a good one. Matthew
Like
Lillard
when-
at his finest.
When he's on the plane with that girl and she's like, "My name's Mary Jane," he's like, "Well, that's like my favorite name."
Do you know who that is?
That's Matthew Lillard.
No, the girl.
The girl.
Oh, I knew this. It's Isla Fisher.
Yeah.
Yes. Because like
Weird.
that was my first introduction to her, but it's weird because now she's famous for being a redhead, and that's like the one movie where she's like just straight up blonde.
Super blonde.
Super blonde.
Anyway, hey, we're gonna talk Tudors today eventually, guys. Don't worry.
Well, we're also going to talk Halloween today.
And spoopy Halloween stuff.
Spoopy, spoopy. Today, we are going to talk about Halloween in the Tudor times and also funerals.
Oh,
We're gonna talk about dead people. Don't want dead people calling in.
You don't want those dead people calling in.
I mean, to be fair, every episode of Tudor Hardly Know Her is about dead people.
It is. Every episode is a Halloween episode.
Technically.
Excuse me. Push my glasses in.
And I just want to point out that they're all technically dead.
Wait, was
Well, you know what?
Halloween a thing back
Let's
then?
pretend like we're going back in time. Doodaloo, doodaloo, doodaloo. I wonder what life was like back in the 16th century.
My favorite is then you're just sitting there staring into space for like 15 minutes and not moving.
I think that's what happened in that South Park episode.
Isn't that a epilepsy? No, I'm serious. Aren't epileptic episodes sometimes like almost catatonic?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not epileptic.
This is not the
Hey, everyone with
epileptic-
epilepsy, write in and let us know.
This is not the epileptic episode.
Epileptics, we hardly know anything about them. All right, so
This is
Halloween
not the
episode.
episode. Okay, sorry.
Holy
Halloween
shit,
episode.
Emily.
Okay, so first, so the Halloween stuff, I kind of was just curious about how they did Halloween in that time period, and then the funerals thing was a fan suggestion. So thank you to our wonderful fan for suggesting our episode, or half of our episode. So we're gonna first start with Halloween. Are you ready, boys and girls?
I actually am really curious about how this is all gonna go.
I really don't know what to expect because I figure that, back then, very religious people, they would consider Halloween to be very pagan or whatever version of Halloween they had back then to be incredibly
anything-
pagan and frowned upon by the church.
If there's anything we learn from Henry, he really does not care what the church says.
That's true.
Henry, you can't just divorce all your wives. Leave this team. Well, tell me, what do you guys think? We kind of heard what Garrett had to say. Jeff, what do you think?
I just
Halloween
realized
would've
there's
been
like, you always think about cultures probably have some sort of like, the way they view Halloween, I think of just like respect for the dead kind of thing. Well, it's like I always think of like, was it the Mexican one? I always forget.
Dia de los.
Yeah.
Dia de la
Los
Muertos.
Muertos.
No,
Yeah.
it's Dia de la Muertos.
I always say it wrong. 'Cause,
Cinco
like
de
that one's more like a
Cuatro.
respectful remembering of those who have passed and kind of celebrating those past lives. Where I feel like this like sort of it, but like not quite as
Wow.
festive about it.
Because the day after Halloween is All Saints Day, correct?
It is. Good job, Garrett.
All right. And so I would imagine Halloween was probably a mixture of that as well as maybe a harvest holiday. or like something celebrating the
I'm
harvest.
just gonna let Garrett do this episode.
Well, see, I also think of
Whoa.
the thing is, I always forget, like, technically, Dracula would have been kind of this,
Vlad the Impaler.
time period.
He was.
Yeah.
When was
And I
Dracula?
always think
I'm
of
looking that up. You
And
guys.
I always
can
think of, like,
Actually-
the masquerade balls. That's what I think of.
Garrett, look up Vlad the Impaler and then educate us.
By the way, Dracula would not have been written at that time.
But Vlad the Impaler would have.
Vlad,
I am Vlad the Poker.
not Putin.
I like
Vlad
to poke.
Tepish. Vlad the Impaler was
Wasn't he?
around 1428 to 1476.
Wasn't he the inspiration for Dracula?
He is.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody's watching the Castlevania show on Netflix, he is. I believe that's his name. The Dracula
Dracula.
character. Also, it's a very good show. Go watch it.
Okay. Garrett's not in that show, so he's not plugging it to be selfish. By the way, go listen to Strange Heartland. Anyway, back to Halloween.
Yeah.
You guys have done a really good job.
Thanks.
One thing, if you guys had ever paid attention to the very historically accurate Hocus Pocus, you would know
A movie about asking a kid if he's a virgin.
they are very
God,
caught
they say
up
that so many times in that movie.
on him being a virgin. You guys would know that Stuck Up Allison tells us that that Halloween is based on All Hallows Eve. So it was the first recorded use of the term Halloween. It was shortened from All Hallows Evening. And of course they basically started doing LOL and OMG back then by making like Halloween a word and all that stuff. It was first recorded use in the mid 1500s. So good job, Tudors. Another website claimed that it wasn't used until the 1600s, but that was only one site, and the others all said that the recorded use was in the 1500s. So we're just going to say Henry VIII fun fact, Henry VIII invented Halloween. Okay, you were doing something. So it was originally called All Hallows Eve, Hocus Pocus.
Thank you.
Educate yourselves. It was the one night where spirits could roam the earth. And then everybody high fives the nerdy girl for being actually the day. So it's the day, as Garrett said, the day before All Saints Day, which was November 1st. And just like most holidays, you guys got this right. Halloween has roots in pagan rituals. In this case, it was Summer's End, the Celtic Day.
Samhain.
What is it?
I think it's Samhain. It's probably not.
Is that how
pronounced
it's
that way, but it's
Okay,
It's
well,
written out Samhain.
It is written out Samhain, but it's
I
probably
believe that's Danzig's band.
you what?
Glenn Danzig from the Misfits. I think he has a band called Samhain,
Oh, good.
and that's the name of the kid from Trick or Treat.
Is it really?
Yeah, I believe the kid's name is Samhain.
Yeah, it's Sam. It's like the guy with the burlap sack on his head, or the little creature thing.
Yeah,
The creepiest motherfucking kid alive.
I love that kid.
I love that kid too. So during Samhain, if I'm saying that wrong, please correct me. But people would light bonfires, they'd ring the church bells, and they would wear costumes to scare away the spirits of unfriendly dead. So they had a lot of Caspers apparently because they were friendly ghosts. And then they had a lot of unfriendly
And
ghosts.
all the women wore their slutty Catwoman outfits. How
I'm
many
gonna
Harley Quinns were there?
I'm going to scare them away with my boobs.
Oh my god!
Um,
But they were just actually dressing up like Harlequins.
Like real Harley Quinns, not.
I like that. They also left food and wine on their doorsteps to keep ghosts away. I'm not quite sure. Like,
Man, those homeless people are probably so happy at the end of the night.
say, like the homeless people are probably like, I fucking love
So
this
on
holiday.
Christmas, you leave out milk and cookies
is
for
a
a
holiday.
creepy man who breaks into your house. On Halloween, you leave out wine and food for the homeless people
Well,
to
it's
keep
just
out.
like if I were a homeless person, I would stand outside of a house, eat all the food and wine, and then be like, "Ooh, there's
I'm
a
not
ghost."
satisfied.
I need more food.
Oh my God, it's a ghost! No, I'm just malnourished.
Somebody feed me. So it marked the Celtic New Year. They also blessed buildings and homes to protect them from evil spirits and witches. One thing that kind of bothered me was that they were like, this is the one day spirits could roam the earth. Because I'm like, I thought
Can't be haunted all the year round. It's only one night a year.
ghosts got shit to do, guys. They've got stuff going on.
I just like the idea that's like when ghosts only time they'll haunt you. It's like, fuck, like I can't do it any other time. I got like they spend all year like planning what can they do this year to fuck with them.
It's really like Nightmare Before Christmas. They spend 364 days a year just planning their haunts.
I got the plans for next Halloween.
So that was why in sometime Pope Gregory III made November 1st All Saints Day. He was using what is it, Garrett? Samhain.
Samhain, Shamain.
Shimmerlibberlibber. Shimmerlibber-ding-dong.
Go, you're out of there.
So that was just a kind of thing they did. Take pagan holidays and make them our own. Good job, Christians. You guys fucking suck. During Halloween, people would go souling. Now, what do you think souling is?
I want to imagine this is like going out in public and just talking shit to the dead.
You're just in a graveyard yelling at the
Like,
different
hey,
tombstones.
ghost, fuck you.
Wait, is that movie you were watching last weekend?
Oh my God, Bad Ben.
Oh, God.
No, stop it.
Stop it. Incredible.
Oh, fuck. That was a good one. No. Souling is when poor people and children would go door to door begging for alms and soul cake. And I don't mean
Soul
soul
cake?
as in like funk. I mean, it was
Sorry,
like,
you said soul cake, right?
yeah, soul cake.
Okay.
So, James Brown would step out and start singing.
Soul.
No, soul cake was like a spiced cake.
So I'm a very dense person. When you're saying souling, I was thinking like the sole of your shoe.
All right, it's November 1st. Everybody gets a new pair of shoes.
I never once actually thought about like the body soul. God, I'm an idiot.
You're my idiot. Our
Aw.
daughter is going to be so special. But it was supposed to represent a soul in purgatory. So in exchange for a cake, the souler would pray for the dead of the household. So instead of trick or treat, they'd be like, I'll pray for your dad. Slightly threatening.
Pray for dead or treat.
Trick or pray for dad.
Oh my God.
It's just like, it's mildly threatening too. Like, can you imagine a little kid in a terrifying homemade costume coming up to your door, knocking on it, and being like, "Hey, I'm here for food."
Oh, what a cute.
And they're like, "We don't have any dead people here." And he's like, "Not yet, you don't."
Oh, Jesus.
What a cute little zombie outfit. Zombie outfit.
Okay, so to understand the whole purgatory thing, I'm going to give you non-Catholics a little edumacation.
Is purgatory not that familiar of a concept to people?
I think it's a familiar concept, but
We
only
brought up
as it
purgatory before.
exists. We'll talk about, what do you remember about purgatory?
It's Ohio.
Jesus.
Ted Allen is not abused. Good job, Jeff. Okay,
No, we brought this up before. That's what I said before.
I believe that joke has been made.
I don't remember it.
It was on this podcast.
Well, duh. Okay, purgatory not Ohio, close to Ohio. So when you died, you'd go to heaven or hell. If you were a shitty person, you went directly to hell. What did you say?
I said, or Ohio.
Or Ohio. You'd go to heaven or hell. And if you were a sinful person who never like apologized for your sins and just basically sucked, you'd go directly to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. If you were going to heaven, you had to go through purgatory and your sins would be washed away. I guess your time in purgatory depended on all the awful shit you did.
It's kind of like a prison for your soul.
It's kind of like a good place where everybody has points.
It's the neutral place.
It's the neutral place. So when you were in purgatory, you could have somebody pray for your soul and it would shorten your time in purgatory. So that's why rich people were like, hey, church, I'll give you 100 pounds if you say a prayer for my soul every single day. It also was a huge part of the Reformation because there was a lot of corruption with selling, oh, God, what's it called?
Alms?
No, alms are like, no, it's you sold some indulgences.
That's what it is,
You sold indulgences, and it was basically a get out of jail free card. So the priests would be like, I mean, I could shorten your time in purgatory.
If you'll indulge me in a little, okay, I get it.
Yep. So huge thing in the Reformation. So the kids would go souling. And then the Reformation happened. So I know we talked a lot about how like astrology, religion, and magic were all kind of like bound up in one kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Well, then Henry wanted his divorce, and he was like, fuck you, church. And so they went through the Reformation, and part of that was getting rid of quote unquote superstitious idols. So in Catholicism, you pray through saints to, God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you would not pray to the saints, but you would have their statue. They're interceding for you. They're doing you a solid. You owe them a favor. Well, that was no longer allowed. But somehow, even though they were like, don't pray to saints, don't just like, it's bad, don't do it. Somehow All Saints Day continued. And so therefore, so did Halloween.
Well, I mean, Henry probably liked all those costumes.
I was like trying to fit that in.
I'm really surprised by the whole costuming idea back then. Like, I think of like maybe like masquerade stuff back then. Like,
no, Henry was like weekly Halloween party.
What's all the bird mask?
Henry was very into masks.
There's no like documentation or any kind of like paintings or anything like that. I'm sure there'd be some kind of like imagery from then what they would have looked like for these kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm sure. Like,
I'm really not. I'm curious to see what they would have looked like, like what their quotations costumes would have looked like.
I bet terrifying.
Maybe or fairly simple, like just a simple mask.
And they have descriptions of the costumes for the masks because they would do the court masks, and it was really just like a play with dancing.
Yeah,
it was a musical.
I mean, costuming thing.
Henry VIII wrote Chicago.
Fact.
Now I'm just visualizing him in like cabaret outfits.
Okay, no, I'm not picturing him in a cabaret outfit. I'm picturing him in his regular clothes, but with a cane and a sparkly bowler hat.
Jesus.
So they recorded what some of the things they wore were. They were really just like, fuck.
Because I don't believe like all of them are gonna be like, we're gonna look like creepy demon monster things. I'm sure back then they're like, it's just something.
No, they just wore pretty costumes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on the Wikipedia page as we're talking about this and looking at the history of All Hallows Eve or Halloween on Wikipedia. If you look under history and the Gaelic and Welsh influence, there's a picture of just this terrifying looking mask. It looks like some kid wrote on a cloth, cut the eye holes out and the nose hole, and then called it a day. Like,
And
it's
then
a serial killer mask.
they made the movie Trick or Treat.
It's scarier.
We'll post that on our Facebook page.
Also, further down on that little segment, there is a traditional Irish Halloween turnip carved with a face in it, and it looks like a soul trying to escape just something.
Dear God.
It looks terrifying.
That sounds terrifying.
Holidays are fascinating in general, just like how they get to where they are now and
We
traditions.
steal them.
Well, I mean, like everything's
really,
like little bits of the traditions are like brought from different little things and put into like
So
one.
the tree, I was told in church, so this might not be very accurate, but the reason you put up a Christmas tree is because traditionally you would give a plant to a new mother, and because Jesus was the super baby, Virgin Mary gets a whole fucking tree. So
Take some trees out there and bring it in here. Take all your lights and put it outside.
and then
Well, because like how we do all the pumpkin carving stuff, like that's a big part of Halloween.
that was meant to scare souls, but I don't think that had its roots in Tudor times. Garrett, do you see anything about pumpkin carving?
Yeah, I believe that's what I was talking about with the
Turnip.
turnip.
Oh yeah,
Like
duh.
they would carve some vegetables, and then I think pumpkin was just like probably one of those easier to carve kind of vegetable around. It was big enough you could put a full image on it. But
Pumpkin carving contests were created in the Tudor times.
Henry VIII invented pumpkin carving,
Oh God, I hope somebody takes us seriously.
and he would just draw on all the. He would carve a picture like, "Hey, look, it's Anne Boleyn," and then just drop the pumpkin.
Okay, I'm gonna send you guys a picture of. And we'll post this on Facebook. Believe you me, but this is what it looks like.
The creepy mask.
That's the turnip that people carved things into, like jack-o'-lanterns, before we had
Jesus.
pumpkins.
That's horrifying.
Jesus Christ, yeah, that's creepy as hell. Why did they
Yeah.
give it teeth?
I mean, jack-o'-lanterns have teeth, just not that many, and not that realistic.
That
looking.
looks like an actual mouth. Like the teeth are in the inside part. That's the part that creeps me out.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
It looks like the head of a mummy fell off
And all the wrappings
and
fell off
just
too.
got scarier.
Okay, so that's Halloween in the Tudor times. You guys ready to move on to dead people?
Absolutely.
Well, actually, a quick thing about Halloween. So was it always like things like that held at the evening time, or was it like an all-day celebration, or is it
I-
like not really known what they? Because like I like you talk about stuff, they leave things out at night, but
I imagine it
peop-
would have been an all-day thing.
yeah. Because
I've-
nowadays for us,
Shit,
like
if I could do it, I would
like,
celebrate Halloween all
yeah,
day.
because often with America, it's just we do Halloween at night essentially.
Yeah.
Like during the day, where like if it's a work day like this year, it's on a Wednesday. We could still go to work. Your work might do something fun, but for the most part, like there's nothing special happens during the day. It's in the
Man, I
evenings when all this
sucked
stuff
as
happening.
a kid when Halloween was on a weekday.
Yeah, because like you got to go home, do all this fun Halloween stuff, then still have to go to school the next morning.
Yeah, that was the bullshit part. Like a Friday night.
I saw a thing today where there's a change.org petition to change the date of Halloween to the last Saturday of the month.
Yes.
And I get that, but it's just so traditional to have it on the 31st.
I just love what people think they can change with a petition.
I set up a petition to try and get a White Castle here in my town, and I got at least 25 signatures.
There are 25 people who want to have their colons wrecked.
I wasn't that serious about it. I wanted to make it like a radio bit, and nobody latched on.
No radio bit for Garrett.
I tried so hard. Oh, only 21 people signed.
Change.org. Let's petition to officially declare Richard III as England's official villain.
That was probably a very popular costume on Halloween.
He's so spoopy.
It was just a bunch of kids with their hump, just going around the place.
What hump?
What hump?
Dead people.
Yeah.
Let's start with some fun
bury them.
facts. Let's start with some fun facts. How many children do you think died before the age of 5 on average?
80%.
Jesus, Garrett.
Morbid much? I was
It
gonna say
seemed
half.
like it.
Less than half, a quarter.
Oh,
How many?
Not as bad.
How many do you think died before reaching the age of 16?
60%.
Nope.
Higher or lower?
Lower.
Oh, 40.
40.
40 is right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. Now, what do you think was considered old age back then?
Like
35.
I was gonna say mid 30s.
50s and 60s.
See, I always loved that how like everyone talks about like everyone always lived only to be like 30 back then. I'm like, well, I mean, people did live be old. It's just there also are a lot of people who died young. That
Yeah.
caused that like average.
Go back to math class, guys.
Yeah.
Learn about averages. So back to religion. Oh, wait. I already did this purgatory thing. So you could have your time in purgatory shortened by someone praying for you or for your soul, or pay for the church to pray for your soul. And they would get their soul purged of all their sins before entering heaven. So as someone was dying, they'd croak out for the priest and confess their sins and get the last rites. It's actually surprising how much of this is still pretty common today. Then upon their death, the church bell would ring to help the soul on its journey across the river Styx. I'm just kidding, not across the river Styx. They don't believe in that.
I was going to
That's-
say,
that's-
that's not right.
Yeah, but I said it so convincingly.
That's Roman. No wait, Roman is Roman
It's
and Greek.
Greek.
I share a lot. Yeah.
Romans
So
stole
pretty
from
much
the
the same
Greek.
thing.
Romans stole like everything from Greece.
They really
in their
did.
Mythology.
There's Hercules and Heracles. They're really not even that
Zeus,
creative.
Jupiter, and it's like
Yeah.
Aphrodite, Venus.
Zeus, I hardly
Mars
know
and
her.
Aries.
Yep.
So
yeah.
the church bells would ring. They'd call the soul. They'd help the soul on its journey. They did believe in ghosts, as we mentioned during the Halloween, the spoopy Halloween. And they believed that they could come back to haunt you. So
What- I was gonna ask if they had an explanation for ghosts back then, like what they thought why ghosts were around, because like they obviously believed you go to heaven. Why do they believe some people would be?
Yeah,
they
I
just
always-
actively chose
I always
to.
assumed that it was because I always grew up with the idea that, well, because I was raised Catholic, that you're not supposed to believe in ghosts or
Right, me too.
supernatural or anything like that.
Right, me too. Except that's kind of why I do believe in that shit.
Yeah. Well, usually the always reason I got I was always told was like either the unfinished business thing or it was the person who made a choice to stay on Earth.
That latter is kind of what what I found when I was researching. So those who died by suicide specifically were especially likely to come back and haunt you. So they would bury the person at a crossroads to confuse them, and then they would put a stake through their heart to confuse them further. No, I'm just kidding. They would put a stake through their heart to stop them from becoming a ghost. Which, why didn't they
I
just
thought
do
you were
that
gonna
to
say
everybody?
vampire. Just
Why
like,
didn't they do that to everybody? Like,
well, it's like the same
only-
question. Why don't we just pour cement on everyone's grave so they can't come back as zombies?
We don't really believe in zombies. They believed in ghosts.
You know what, Jeff, Emily, I consider you guys to be very close friends of mine. So, should I pass away before either of you, I would very much like it if you just threw my body in the middle of an intersection with a stake in my chest.
All right, but I'm keeping this recording, and when we're all old fucks and Jeff and I toss your body onto an intersection.
No, he wished for this. We
Yeah,
have documented
we'll have,
proof.
Yeah, proof.
It's like a Make-A-Wish thing. He
It
was
is.
old.
What he's not have still a wish even when he's old?
Dare deny an old man his wish.
So when someone
you no
died, they
heart.
were buried pretty quickly. They didn't have very good embalming methods back then, and really only the wealthy could afford to be embalmed. So people would be buried within 2 to 3 days after their death, unless they died from the plague. They'd be like, "Get this the fuck out of here," and they'd bury them that night. Probably to confuse them. Can't see where you're going if you're buried at night. But the wealthy could be embalmed so that more people could come and say goodbye to them. But it still wasn't like a lot of time. So the priest would come and give their last confession, and then the body would be placed in a shroud with herbs or flowers, and it would stay. This is the creepy part. It would stay in the home with the family until the funeral. So they did something called sin eating.
Thank God people can't see my
What
my
do you guys
face. I'm
think
shocked.
sin eating is?
I would
Grandpa,
imagine-
It is the mystery ingredient in your chopped basket.
Dad, what's in the
Sins.
Soylent Green you gave me?
All right, what do you guys think sin eating is?
I imagine it's like pretending that you're feeding grandma,
You're
or like just shoving like stew in her mouth.
I was gonna say it's where Grandpa becomes
Oh.
the table. It's like that. It's like that sushi thing, like where they have people lay out and they put sushi all over like a naked person.
Corpse sushi. I love it. That's a great idea. I can't believe that's not already a thing.
No.
So what I think it seriously is, I think it's you sit down for one last meal with your family, with that dead family member. You sit them at the table and you have one last meal with them.
Just
I'm so visualizing you propping them up at the dinner table while you're eating.
like a puppet.
Like Weekend at Bernie's.
I was thinking of there's an episode of the Drew Carey show that happens at Halloween, and Drew's boss tells him, "I'm going to promote you," and then he promptly dies. So Drew does a Weekend at Bernie's thing.
Use like ventriloquism to like,
Yeah.
I gave you a promotion.
Oh God,
God.
no! So sin,
Just everyone here should be thankful that they live in a time period when Weekend at Bernie's exists.
I agree. Sin eating is bread and water or bread and beer was passed over the dead body to a hired sin eater. When that person ate and drank, he took the dead person's sins on himself. So he was like, it's kind of like It Follows, except without sex and with more food. Got it?
So you pass a beer and some bread over someone's body, and that just absorbs all the sin. And then you
And then
eat
the
the sin,
person
and
has
then
to
you're
eat
like,
it.
"Ooh, that's good sin," and then you just have sin.
Yes.
Like what?
That is a
Why
very
do these
salty
people have
sin.
sin?
Your
Can they
sins
get
are
rid of
very
sin?
salty. But then what
Like-
happens? Like, what if the sin eater passes away and somebody hires a sin eater to eat over the sin eater's body?
Oh, that's a lot of fucking bread, Emily. That's a lot of bread.
I'm just wondering, like, is there a rule? Like, you can only, like, no takesies backsies? Like,
Could a sin eater go to confession after that? Like, oh man, wait till I tell you what this guy did.
I'm confessing on behalf of a dead guy. Yeah, I
This
don't know.
guy
There's a lot of
jerked it
questions
a
about
lot.
sin eating. I'm very... Also, sin eater sounds like something out of Stranger Things.
It sounds like an anime.
It does.
Beware
And the premise even sounds like an anime. It's like, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm 15 years old and I eat people's sins for breakfast.
Sinos.
Oh God.
The healthy, nutritious way to start your breakfast day. Breakfast day. I need to sleep. Oh, fuck.
Part of this nutritional breakfast and curing your soul.
Heal your soul and your hunger.
Sin eating for the soul.
It's just like a bunch of poor people like looking for hey, have you they're like, but they do it discreetly, like instead of you want to buy a knockoff Rolex, they're like, hey, do you need a sin eater? They like just hang around the creepy shadows between houses. Hey, Mick.
A, I want to imagine if the sin food tasted better.
They
B, I
just
wonder if any
added
sin
a-
eaters like really hammed it up when they ate it. Like they take a bite of the bread, they're like, "Oh, there's so much sin in here. Oh, I can feel it."
Oh, wow, your grandma was a real good one. She hardly sinned at all. But just to be sure, could I have another
sweet,
piece?
This bread.
So they would then watch the body all night long in candlelight to safeguard it from tampering. Don't know what kind of tampering happened in the 1500s.
Once again, do not let your children listen to this show.
Once again, Weekend at Bernie's is happening. And
Weekend
then
at Henry's.
Weekend at Henry's. The midwife would have washed and wrapped the body. The rich would be buried in a coffin, but of course the poor couldn't get that.
Wait, did you say the midwife would?
A midwife. So she'd wash a dead person and then go deliver a baby.
Did you wash her hands?
She'll handle you before
yes.
death, after birth.
Yep, you're set. This is the same midwife who wrapped up your grandma's dead body 5 minutes before you were born.
Hope these are not the same wrappings.
They're fine.
They're reasonable.
Spray a little perfume on them. The rich would be buried in a coffin. The poor could apparently not get them. The church would loan out coffins, and the poor would be carried to the church in a coffin.
Bring it back when you're done.
Bring it back when you're done, and they would be buried in their shroud.
And hose it off when you're done.
And hose it off. And the rich were also one of the only ones who had headstones, so you're not likely to find a headstone for a poor person. Or Richard III.
Whackity schmackity doo.
So for prominent citizens, there would be a funeral procession throughout the streets, and it was led by family, and everybody would wear black. So the really wealthy people would get black cloth for everybody to wear. So, they're rich even when they're dead, they're giving people shit to wear. A minister would read the Bible. The person would be placed in their grave. And then they would they would really just go and hang out and drink and eat and talk and chat and lament that person's sad, sad death. And apparently there was a favorite burial spot. Everybody wanted to be buried near the church because you would
be less confusion after you die.
It would mean
be
you had
closer to God.
Better afterlife. No, I guess like everybody else had to walk to heaven, and
I visualize like people like to secretly bury someone like next to the church.
Yeah, there were like illicit church grave diggers, and they would like in the foundations of a church.
How much further do you have to go?
That is it.
Okay, I was gonna ask, what was their thoughts on burning? Like,
I was gonna ask
cremation.
that, Jeff.
Gary, you should know this because we're Catholic. We're not allowed to be cremated.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, we're not allowed to be cremated.
Well, I think I want to.
Is there a reason why?
Let me look it up.
Because that was one of the things because everyone has their own different like methods how they want to be handled.
Speaking of being cremated, I read the other day that the whole rumor about people's ashes being thrown about the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney is actually true.
Yeah.
Yep.
That place, people keep trying to put their ashes on that ride. There's a lot of places that people try to put their ashes on things, and then people have to stop them.
Okay.
It's not around anymore, but I would also say, if I die before you guys, cremate me, take me on the Tower of Terror, and just open the urn.
It still exists in Disney World.
Okay.
So you could. What you do is right before it drops, you just throw it, so it just comes right in.
Garrett, it's because of the resurrection of us after death.
You guys believe in resurrection?
No, it's the resurrection of our soul. Like fuck our mortal body.
But it says I'm literally reading a Catholic.org thing or something.
Catholic.org.
I don't know if that's the actual site, but it's a.
Maybe that's where you can order those wafers, Garrett.
Who the fuck is the web host, or who owns the website Cremation Resource? Vatican issues new guidelines, says no scattering to ashes. This was during our current Pope's time. All right, wait. Article. I don't want your fucking videos, and I don't want your Jeep ads. I just want to read about whether or not we can be burned.
So I know Emily doesn't like it, but I've always thought about being cremated and have my ashes just spread somewhere.
Did I say I didn't like it?
You said something about that, like that. You don't want to burn me.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to burn you. All right, the Vatican announced Tuesday, this was in October 2016, Catholics may be cremated but should not have their ashes scattered at sea or kept in urns at home. According to new guidelines from the Vatican's doctrinal office, cremated remains should be kept in a sacred place such as a church cemetery. They should not be divided up between family members, nor may they be preserved in mementos, pieces of jewelry, or other objects. So when you die, I'm not allowed to put your ashes in a locket.
But can we be dismembered?
No.
Like, okay, well,
Oh, I guess we've allowed
Take
cremation for decades.
Take different parts of me and bury them different places. We look at a map. it
Billy
makes
gets a
smiley
finger.
face.
Amy gets my foot.
No, I was gonna say you bury the different parts in different locations, and we look at from a map above. It makes a smiley face.
I didn't hear that, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. I just heard look at it from above, and it's a smiley face.
I love it so much. Makes a smiley face.
Okay, so it was in the 60s when the Catholic Church was going through a ton of updates that they said, we really want you to bury your dead people, but we're not
It's like-
exactly...
We updated our terms
It's
and
like
services.
New Catholic.
Yeah,
and then everyone
Catholic.
got no one liked it. They went back to classic Catholic.
If right. So that's that.
Huh. There were some other things I was trying to think of. Now, so like they said like they're starting to give like the soul food thing on.
Mm-hmm.
Would it?
Soul food.
That's this episode's title.
Would they do other kinds of foods like because
Are we talking about Halloween or are we talking about sin eating?
whenever the kids went
Soul
souling?
cakes. Soul cakes. It was specifically soul cakes.
Okay.
Soul cakes.
Yeah, it was just like a spiced cake.
Okay.
Yeah. I found a website
It's
that
once
has
again
a
you're always
recipe
trying to
for
feel
it.
like where certain things came from. Like when did they start doing like a variety of treats to give to people? And
When did it become candy?
It was all candy corn.
Yum.
the candy corn we're eating today originated from Henry VIII's time. Not like the recipe. No, the actual candy corn is still left over from all that time.
Yeah. It's like Egyptian honey. That's still good.
Yep.
Did you ever hear that story about Tootsie Rolls?
No.
I believe it's Tootsie Rolls where like the vat where they make Tootsie Rolls like has never been fully cleaned, so it still has like some of the original Tootsie Roll in there potentially.
I didn't need to know that. I love Tootsie Rolls.
Well, yeah, but it's good. Like Tootsie Rolls are one of those things that can survive a nuclear holocaust.
There's just going to be Tootsie Rolls and cockroaches.
Yep. Do
Oh.
not mix them up.
Poe wants to be on the podcast.
They're hungry.
Any other questions, Mr. Tootsie Roll?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Jeffrey?
Just trying to think if there was something else. Now, was the masquerade thing, is that just a normal party? Or was that actually something related to Halloween?
No, not related to Halloween, just
It's
a party.
just sometimes they just had their parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, if I were rich, I'd have masquerades once a week. I love wearing ball gowns and masks.
Now, did they... Because you always think about like how like Vlad is the inspiration for Dracula. They didn't really have creatures like that back then.
They were all just demons.
Yeah, there was no like vampires or werewolves.
Nah.
I'm sure there are things like that that have been lost to time.
I don't know.
But,
No, I'm curious.
Let's look up 16th century cryptids.
What'd you say?
'Cause when was Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Bram
written?
Stoker? 1800s.
Okay.
I could ask Brittany. Brittany did a research paper on vampires. Thank you, Poe.
I mean, there were like mythical creatures, kind of like Sasquatches and things like that.
Well,
That people
they-
were like, oh, I totally saw it back in that time.
Well, it's like how Greek and Roman mythology always had all their mythological creatures they thought of, like centaurs and cyclops and harpies. So you get things like that are probably made for stories, but you're never sure if like people actually did believe those things existed.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm asking my vampire expert.
Anne Rice?
No, Stephanie Myers.
Oh God. She may not answer quickly, but we'll see.
Hey, this year's a 10-year anniversary of Twilight.
We should go see it,
Holy
guys.
shit.
I know. I feel old.
The movie, not the book.
I feel old. I remember reading those books. Don't judge. I was a sad high schooler.
You know, I think we all were.
Yeah. I can imagine Garrett wearing his goth eyeliner just reading Twilight.
But
I did not wear guy liner, thank you very much.
Since Halloween is happening, I don't know how many people hear this episode before you go out and do
Today.
any your costumings, that kind of stuff. Because we'll probably release this This should be coming out on Halloween.
Yes.
And so for those who are here in the morning, or if I want to hear from our fans, if any of you are doing any Tudor related costumes, because we do like Renaissance fairs, but for
Show
Halloween,
us
do you
your
guys?
pictures?
Because like when we shared that picture of the little kids doing Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, that was great.
That was fucking delightful.
And I think I've seen the picture before, but I always forget about it.
I know.
I feel like we posted that around like when our page first started.
Yeah, like really early years. But I would love to see if either of you fans are doing any kind of like Halloween costumes that are Tudor related.
Yeah,
share them with us. We'd love to see them because that'd be really cool.
Or history related in general.
Yeah, if you have a history related costume, send it our way. It'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, I want. So
Also, if anyone knows of any like cryptids from that time period, like let me know.
yes, please.
That'd be interesting to do an episode on like old timey like cryptids.
That can be one of the episodes you guys do on my maternity leave.
One episode is just gonna be me and Jeff bullshitting.
Do you guys want an episode of you guys just bullshitting?
Absolutely.
I talked about an idea when the baby's finally here and Emily's kind of a little busy taking care of a small human being.
Yeah,
That Garrett and I do our own like one-off
I'm cool with that.
episodes of we cover other history stuff like
What do you guys? What do our listeners think, guys? Do you want to hear Jeff and Garrett talk about history?
It's like we pick some sort like we would probably do like a very broad general one. We won't go as specific as we do with this one, but like talk about like is there a certain era like Garrett you want to talk about or myself, and we just kind of do our own little research.
That'd be cool.
Like maybe
I also talked about Emily like doing the research and then giving us the notes and saying make an episode out of it.
and just guess of what history was based off her notes.
I'm okay with that. We can do that episode soon.
It's just half these notes just say fuck Cromwell.
Richard sucks.
Yeah.
Cromwell's a bitch. It's like a burn book from
We
Mean
had
Girls.
a really fun conversation with a couple this last weekend about our podcast, and Emily got excited because they kept talking about all these British history stuff with them.
My favorite thing when I tell people that we do a podcast about the Tudors is they're like, "Don't you run out of things to talk about?" And I just kind of laugh. Oh, honey. I could never run out of stuff to talk about. Brittany said she's not exactly sure when they started. They may be a bit early to have believed in them, so probably they didn't believe in them during the Tudor times.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's probably another one of those things that kind of like branched out over time. Like it kind of came from different other little myths. Like people always don't forget like part of the myth of vampires is they can turn into multiple animals, not just bats.
Yep.
Like you watch the original Dracula with Bela Lugosi. There's a moment apparently he turns into like a wolf and runs into the woods.
Yep. That'd be a fun one.
But yeah, be cool. But anyways, I think I can't think of anything else about Halloween or dead people.
Yeah, I think that's it.
We good.
We good?
We good. So
We good.
Rate and review us. Find us on Facebook and on Twitter. Our handle is Tudor Know Her. So until next time.
Yep. Send us questions.
Until
comments.
next time.
Until next
Divorce,
time.
beheaded, died.
Divorce, beheaded,
Divorce,
survived.
beheaded, survived.
Goodbye.
Happy Halloween.